The defense shined against Kansas City in all the right ways. The offense showed just enough, and special teams leave something to be desired. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Follow me on Twitter, Clayton Scorder. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Why did I sound like a carnival barker right there? Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen free wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. 15 years in sports media, officially kicked off my 9th season here hosting Locked On Cardinals. And man, I'm excited. You should be excited. I won't tell you how to think, but you should be excited. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. So for those that missed my inaugural postcast for the 2025 season, let me kind of give you a quick rundown of what postgame is going to look like from here through the entirety of the season. Game ends. I do between 15 and 20 minutes, just giving my initial thoughts. Then a full hour of the Cardinal Squad Show. If you haven't checked that out, it's myself, Jamil Douglas, and Ben Garcia. We do a full live hour after the game, after me. Then after the game, after me, Cardinal Squad Show. And then I'll be doing my full breakdown every Monday, as I always do. Lot to talk about. And kind of giving an overview here. I know that the quarterback tier list came out from Mike Sando today. I'm going to talk about that in depth tomorrow. I did want to give just kind of a button on the Kansas City game. Cardinals get a dub, 20-17. The score doesn't matter, but there was a lot of snackable content that we were able to take away from that game that needs to be discussed. Special teams leaves a lot to be desired, except for one probably most important portion of that. I'll talk about in the third segment. The offense showed enough. All right, and there's one wrinkle that needs to be discussed there. New information has come to light since the postcast that I'll discuss. But all in all, listen, the defense shined, okay? The defense had all of the draft capital put into it, all of the money this offseason, aside from, re-signing James Conner and Trey McBride. And you saw that 0-1 jump. I know that this is the preseason, okay? I know that offensive linemen playing in the preseason, it's a little bit more difficult to play at 80% than pass rushers who can just push forward instead of pushing and then having to step backwards like offensive linemen. Okay. I also know that defensive front looked completely different. It's completely different. There's a bunch of new players. Baron Browning's in the second year of the system. And there were a couple interesting things to discuss, specifically right out the gate. You saw Zaven Collins line up on the right side, then line up on the left side. You saw Baron Browning line up on the right side, then line up on the outside, on the left side. You saw Darius Robinson for the majority of the time lining up directly over the center or in the A-gap directly in between the left guard and center. So that's the first look of the new Darius Robinson, and it looks like he's going to be playing inside. No Calais Campbell, no Josh Sweat, so it might change when Calais comes back. You might bump him out to play DN, Darius Robinson, depending on set. But the front looked good. They were getting pressure the entirety of the time. Patrick Mahomes threw one pass for 1 yard and a touchdown. His day was done very quickly. But Gardner Minshew, Bailey Zappi, and then that third quarterback, they were running for their lives a good portion of the time. And I know it's the preseason, but you'd rather see that than any sort of the alternative where it's like, oh, God. I know it's the preseason, but you want to see a little bit more pop than this. So with the vets, Mac Wilson ran over the left guard. I think it was the first play of Gardner Minshew, second play of Gardner Minshew to almost get a sack. Darius Robinson ate Creed Humphrey's lunch. Baron Browning got good pressure off the end. Like, the guys up front, the vets, played well. Okay, and it's very small sample size. It's very early. I don't want to have to continue to disclaim that. And I'm not taking a preseason win against Kansas City with anything more than this is just a glorified joint practice with, concessions being sold. And then the fun part for me, the younger dudes. The fun part for me is, are we going to see any oh no moments? for those everydayers, oh no moments. Oh no moments are like, oh, well, that player's not ready to play in the NFL yet. We saw with Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins in back-to-back years during their respective rookie campaigns. It's like, oh, man. Whoops. Because you can tell right away if a dude's not ready to be out there. Immediately. And everybody, all of the young guys, looked average to above average. I wasn't trying to eat, during the postcast, if you watched, I wasn't trying to eat Denzel Burke's lunch by any stretch. 5th-round pick, looked a little lost early, gave up some chunk gains early, had a tackle for loss towards the end of the game. Like, it's his first game time action. Like, it's not something that's surprising, and it's fine. But besides that, second-year guys first. Garrett Williams played very sparingly. Max Melton played more. He played into the second quarter. He played with the twos, which I love. He and Will Johnson played with the twos. I absolutely love it because without Starling Thomas, you're going to have to figure out what you got. And the more reps you can get, it's like, I know it seems counterintuitive, but the more reps you can get from Max Melton to determine where you're at, the better. And he played pretty well. He got beat by an immaculate throw by Patrick Mahomes. It's like nobody could stop that. Calvin Johnson playing cornerback couldn't have stopped that. But he played well. Had a great tackle for loss, also on a wide receiver screen. And, I mentioned Darius Robinson already. Dadrian Taylor-Demerson had a handful of tackles. He's a ball hawk, man. He's going to be so good. He's going to be so good. 3 is enough. And then you go to the rookies. Will Johnson looked good. Will Johnson did not look to show any sort of oh-no moments at all. He had the PI call on 1st and goal from the 3 or whatever it was. Like, who cares? He's a physical guy. It's fine. Ketan Crawford had the very, very athletic interception towards the tail end of the game. Looked good. And I know, if he continues to get better through the next couple seasons, he's the dude's a stud. Watch some college film on him. He's just, I don't know how he dropped, but when you have athletic plays like that with an interception as the result from a defensive back, and the whole knock is, well, DBs would be wide receivers if they had good hands. It's not something to be like, oh, bank it, start them. It's just monitor it. It's a nice to have. Okay. But the one for me who stole the show was Jordan Birch. And I had Spencer McLaughlin from Locked On Ducks. And I had him, I had him on during the whole after the draft process and everything. And I was like, listen, man, this is what Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis want. They want violence. And he smiled. And he's like, well, that's Jordan Birch. Jordan Birch was looked at as one of the best bull rushers in this draft class. The fact that the Cardinals got him in the 3rd round, while some say it was a little bit of a reach, others who I trust said, no, they got to steal it. They got to steal in the 3rd round. All of this was just a snowball effect from how wonky the 1st round was and how deep the top 70 really was. So the Cardinals getting him and him coming out and showing he's an NFL player. Yes, it was against the 2s and the 3s, but him dominating in 3 or 4 pass rush situations, getting to the quarterback, making right tackles miss. He had 2 sacks that get called back by penalties, not on him, but penalties down the field. Jordan Birch was the standout for me on Saturday night. And if you can get a dude like that to produce almost right away, even in just a situational pass rusher role, this pass rusher is going to be exponentially different. This is a far cry from Dennis Gardeck being your situational pass rusher. Jordan Birch is a large human being who is a lot faster than he should be. He's so strong. He's so quick. And to put a button on this, what Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis do best, one of the things that they do very well is they find what you're really good at and they let you do just that. And if Jordan Birch is going to be a situational bull pass rusher, whether it be from the interior or off the edge, if you're going to try and manhandle a right guard or right tackle, he showed flashes right away that this game is not too fast for him. It's not too strong for him. And if he can make an impact right away, this Cardinals defense is going to be a lot better. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Listen, the offense showed enough, okay? They showed enough. And going back to the tape, Kyler Murray's interception, there was a reason for that. And I'll discuss it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at Yahoo Fantasy. I actually, no joke, I have my rookie draft going on right now for my Dynasty League in Yahoo Fantasy. I traded away all my picks because I needed players, but the Dynasty dynamic is fascinating. That means that NFL, it's here, man. We're less than a month away. Yahoo Fantasy, full swing, get on it. And whether, you're a first timer or you've been in it for a long time like me, the platform is second to none. It is absolutely second to none. I'm in 2 leagues that's been a combined like 25 years, and I don't use anything but Yahoo. It's just a fact. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's one team left standing. With the season around the corner, now is the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. If you're more into the classics, obviously you can still play the head-to-head private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. We're ramping up, baby. We're ramping up. Turn notifications on. I know you like seeing my big dumb face sometimes. So if you turn notifications on, it'll tell you when a new show is up. Simple. The offense showed enough. Okay? The offense showed enough. The ones played into the, mid-early second quarter. What I was looking for from the offense was a target for each dude. Get Michael Wilson involved, get Greg Dortch involved, get Marv involved, get Trey involved. They all had a catch. And they all had a catch in very different ways. So Michael Wilson was open on the far side of the field to extend the drive for a first down, little catch and run. Marv had a very nice timing route, a little in up the seam that Kyler and him had obviously been working on. Kyler Murray threw the ball to a spot before Marv even turned, and Marv adjusted, caught the ball, went down to the ground, held on the ball. He's got great hands. And then Trey McBride had a nice chunk gain towards the far sideline that Kyler put on just a frozen rope on the nose. And then Greg Dortch had a little, the catch and drop from the quarterback, and receiver catches it and runs. Had a quick first down. Greg Dortch had another play, made some people miss. Like, he's electric, man. He's electric. Tip Ryman had a catch and run. With Kyler specifically, he looked fine. Now I'll talk about the depth guys in a second, but upon further review, Kyler Murray was trying out a no-look throw on that interception. And I'm like, wait, somebody told me that. I'm like, no, like, you could give me crap that it wasn't a miscommunication. The Tyler Murray just missed a throw. I'm like, there's no way you miss a throw that bad. And he, lo and behold, was looking at the crosser, was throwing across his body towards the left pylon, obviously far short, and he just missed it. So this is a time during the preseason where you try stuff, and he tried it, and it failed miserably, and that's it. For the Kyler haters, I apologize. You're gonna have to wait till the regular season. With that, the best, the star of the show, where the offense showed the most was the running game. Didn't matter who was back there. James Conner, Trey Benson, Amari Mercado looked fine, but obviously caught the 31, I think it was 31-yard touchdown catch and run. Michael Carter looked okay. Zonovan Knight had some scoot at the end. Like, the thing about Trey Benson and James Conner is the 1-2 punch. Like, I still think that's the play. You're talking about running backs. You're not talking about a running back running a little angle route and then it kind of being a little bit more of a broken play and he finds himself wide open in the middle of the field. Mark DeMercado is going to have a role in this team. I just think that it needs to be a 1-2 punch and not just a James Conner and figure it out. And I guess we'll see. Very, very early. Jacoby Brissett looked great. Xavier Weaver and him have some sort of connection, even though Xavier Weaver did not come down with any of the go routes that Jacoby Brissett threw to him. He did earn, I think it was a 24, 25-yard defensive pass interference calls, caught the 1-yard touchdown run on the time slant route thrown by Jacoby Brissett. Like, Jacoby Brissett's going to, if anything were to happen to Kyler Murray, this is the best backup situation the Cardinals have had. Colt McCoy looked like, listen, Colt was great in that offense. Obviously, it's a completely different manicure to the offense from Kyler Murray to Colt McCoy. You can run kind of the same offense with Jacoby Brissett and Kyler Murray. Jacoby Brissett's got a cannon, okay? He's pretty accurate. He's not going to be the reason why you lose games more than you win. He's a high-floored backup quarterback. And the fact that the Cardinals signed him, it's the Calais Campbell for the offensive side of the ball. For different reasons, but for stability, Jacoby looked good. I think all in all, when you look at the offense, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to gauge exactly how important these performances are. Because you ran it back, okay? Now, I didn't really want to talk in depth about this. I'm going to give it a couple minutes. The starting offensive line looked great. No Chris Jones. They weren't playing their entire ones on defense. But with that said, it was obvious they were playing against second stringers, and that shows that this offensive line is a set of first-string offensive linemen for the Cardinals. And I know that's kind of, well, you're kind of grasping at straws here. I get, but you have to. During preseason, it's like, would you rather them get railroaded by 2s and 3s? No. Kyler Murray was having a tea party back there. I hope I get to have that conversation a lot. For those that have watched this show or listened for a long time, when I refer to quarterbacks having a tea party in the backfield, it means they're not getting touched, their jersey's clean, they have all the time in the world. Normally, I've been talking about other quarterbacks who have had that over the last couple seasons because this pass rush has been non-existent. Kyler Murray had all the time in the world. All the time in the world. And then the starters came out. Just like with Denzel Burke, where I'm not, you can't. It's too early. Younger dude, 5th-round pick. Hayden Connor, 6th-round pick, struggled as a center, playing center, backing up Yalta Froholt. Now, John Gaines is in a cast on his hand. We'll see if he'll be ready to go week 1. I would assume he will be. And he's the guy that's going to back up Yalta Froholt. He's a 4th-round pick from a couple years ago out of UCLA who can play all the interior positions. And he was brought in before he got hurt his rookie season in camp. They were looking at him to potentially start at center. But he's still around. They've got depth, but here's the thing. This is the big thing to take into consideration. Aside from Christian Jones, who played pretty well, he was a late-round pick last year. He played left tackle. He played pretty well until he hobbled off at halftime. I think it was at halftime. They've got the depth necessary now with Kelvin Beachum and with Will Hernandez. And then with John Gaines there as well. So they've got very, very solid backups if something were to happen or if the production were to wane from either Evan Brown or Isaiah Adams or oh my God, what the hell is his name? The right tackle. What is wrong with me? If the production were to wane, they've got backups. And that's something that is a good situation to be in. I think it went from do they have enough to, now they brought in Will Hernandez. Okay. And we'll see when Will Hernandez is healthy enough to play. You hope that you don't have this conversation they brought Will Hernandez to ride the pine. It's sweet. That means things went really, really well. That means things went really, really well. But the most glaring difference from the first and second teams on Saturday was by and large, by a long margin, the offensive line. And, the Cardinals are in a very good position depth-wise now to withstand any sort of issues, but it's a pretty glaring drop-off that we saw. Again, these are just observations. It's very early. They've got 2 more preseason games, really just one that matters. It's going to be a lot of dudes trying to make the roster in the final preseason game. But what we saw from the offense and defense this past weekend was much more good than not so great, especially the defensive front and the defensive rookies really showed out. Like, listen, this could be a real deal Holyfield defense. Like, truly, this defense could be really, really good in 2025. And I know that Patrick Mahomes only played 2 snaps or 3 snaps. It's better than the alternative of getting railroaded by backup quarterbacks for Kansas City. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. Special teams fumbled their opportunity. See what I did there? Next. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by the Game Time app. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting for concert tickets to go on sale forever, only to lose your spot to a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping, and that's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets easier and faster than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to game time, so you can save up to 60% with their killer last-minute deals. The panoramic seat view for me. Say you're going to a concert, you're like, okay, well, these tickets are a little bit more expensive, but I want to see what the vantage point's going to look like. Is it worth spending a little bit extra cheese to maybe move up a handful of rows or be from a different angle so you can see the stage from a different angle? You can click on the ticket with the row and section and aisle and see the vantage point before you buy the tickets. It's an absolute game changer. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. And yes, I know the right tackle's name is Jonah Williams. Okay. I kept wanting to say Jake Matthews. I don't know why. I've had coffee. I'm wearing my flower shirt. What could be wrong? Jonah Williams. What is wrong with me? Okay. Special teams. That's the end of the segment. And that's analysis. Okay. So Greg Dortch, fumble, touchdown. DJ Dallas, fumble, recovery. It's not so much that. Greg Dortch is pretty damn sure-handed. DJ Dallas is even more sure. He's looked at as one of the best special teams dude in the NFL. Okay? So that's not what I'm worried about. It's more of the chunk gain returns that Kansas City had, irrespective of what quarter it was in. That's more what I'm looking at. It's like, okay, the Cardinals have the opportunity in 2025 to truly play the field position game and execute it. Let me explain what I mean. I know you know what field position game means. With how good the Cardinals defense is projected to be, and with how electric the Cardinals offense could be if it takes what happened last year for the first 10 weeks and expounds upon it. They're going to be a Swiss Army knife of options. So when it comes to something like this, where say the Cardinals have 4th and 4 from their own 46, and they're down 2 with 5 minutes left. Okay. If it was the defense last year, you probably just go for it. And you hope for the best. You hope you can get 3 or 4 yards. With this year, you've got an opportunity to pin the opposing team back, get a quick 3 and out, or maybe a whoopsies turnover that turns into a touchdown or turns into a very short field. You've got that opportunity with this defense. So when you look at larger returns, namely from punt returns, but for both, that's the thing that's going to be the straw that breaks. That's going to be the Achilles heel for the the field position game, and this obviously for punt returns, things like that. So obviously something to monitor. Jeff Rodgers is going to eat their breakfast, lunch, and dinner this entire week. I would lend to think special team coverage teams will do a lot better, and return teams will do a lot better in Denver. But leaving this show on a high note, the Cardinals seem to have their punter and kicker for the next decade. Thomas Morstead became a free agent a couple off seasons ago. I'm like, go get him. Kind of the last piece of the puzzle. At the time, Matt Prater was still playing fine. Other things were going better than what they were a year after. And I got a lot of comments like, Blake Gilligan's going to be good. Blake Gilligan's going to be good. Just watch. And he didn't have his greatest start to an Arizona Cardinals career. Dude's been nails. So I stand corrected. And I've stood corrected over the last, the second half of last year and now. But I mean, if we're resetting what this roster should look like moving forward from a special teams perspective, he's been great. Okay. Chad Ryland, even a bigger surprise. 3 game winners in the first four starts last year, I believe, was the number. He's been great. Kicked a 50-yarder without issue in the preseason. He made another one too. But if you can set and forget in that respect, where you have a kicker that can make upwards of 55-yarders with relative ease, and ease is, very loosely defined. But if that's well within his wheelhouse, and you're not having to go for it on 4th and 2 because a kicker can't make a 53-yarder consistently, there's a very good situation to be in. If you've got one of the better punters in the league, coupled with one of the better defensive, groups in the league, that is very, very scary business. And that's why, field position is something that can be utilized so much where, and I'm going to do a full segment on this at some point before the season starts, but it's like how much they go for it on 4th down and how much they lean towards Jonathan Gannon's more conservative nature. And it's not most defensive head coaches are conservative, but you can really lean into Jonathan Gannon's conservative nature in that respect without cratering, the chance to score, obviously. Where if you can trust Blake Gilligan to coffin corner punts inside the 5-yard line with some sort of regularity, and then you bring this defensive front up there, it's like that's where wild NFL opportunities happen to score touchdowns defensively. You see it happen all the time. But you need a punter that you can trust to not kick the ball out of the back of the end zone or have it bounce awkwardly and then roll into the back of the end zone where you're only netting 25 yards or something like that. So the special teams, the fumbles, it's not really that big of a deal, honestly. This is the first game action, whatever. The return coverage wasn't fantastic, but if this is kind of what we're going to start to see from this Arizona Cardinals kicker and punter duo for, more than not in pseudo perpetuity, the Cardinals are going to be in very, very good shape. You need somebody who can drill a 48-yarder when you're down 2 in the wind. Chad Ryland showed it last year, right off the street. So it wasn't a Matt Amendola situation. Right off the street. Now, obviously, you'd rather Kyler Murray march those teams down to score touchdowns instead of relying on a last-second kick. But he was able to execute last year. And if you have the Ryland and Gilligan combo, I mean, they're children. They're super young. This could be the duo for the next 7-8 years. And if it continues to get better, the Cardinals will be in very, very good shape. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Tomorrow, I will break down Mike Sando's quarterback tiers. Kyler Murray is exactly where I think he should be. But yeah, I'll discuss that more in depth tomorrow. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you then.